presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. When Lois Lane vanished from the train that was bringing Clark Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and the girl reporter back to Metropolis, Kent suspected foul play. But soon after her mysterious disappearance, she called the Daily Planet office, said she had uncovered the story of the century, and asked editor Perry White to deliver $20,000 to 407 South Street immediately. Puzzled, White ordered a check cashed and proceeded to the address carrying 20 $1,000 bills, leaving Clark Kent at the office to take the story when it was phoned in. 2 hours later, a phone call came through from White. Everything was okay, he said, but he needed another $20,000. Kent protested that Mr. Darwin, the Daily Planet cashier, wouldn't accept his authorization for that much money. White said he would call Darwin directly and ordered Kent to bring the money to 407 South Street. As our story continues today, the elderly cashier has just entered Clark Kent's office, obviously disturbed.
I don't quite understand it, Mr. Kent. It's very puzzling.
What did Mr. White say when he called you?
Simply to issue another check for $20,000, cash it at the bank, and turn the money over to you. He was very explicit about it.
Well, you don't have to bother, Mr. Darwin.
But you mean I'm not to issue the check?
That is exactly what I mean.
Mr. Kent, I received definite orders from Mr. White.
I know. Just ignore them.
Oh, but how can I? I've been with the Daily Planet 20 years, Mr. Kent, and I've never disobeyed an order yet.
Well, don't you worry. I'll take full responsibility for this. I'm going down to see Mr. White, and I'll tell him I countermanded the order.
Oh, you know where he is?
Yes, at 407 South Street. Miss Lane is with him.
Oh, I see. Hadn't you better take the money with you, Mr. Kent?
No, he really doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it?
No.
Strange. Over the telephone, Mr. White said it was imperative he had the money immediately.
Don't you worry about it, Mr. Darwin. I'll explain everything to Mr. White.
I don't know, Mr. Kent. Is there any way of reaching Mr. White by phone?
No, I'm afraid there isn't. But I'll be seeing him shortly, and I promise you I'll straighten everything out.
I hope so, Mr. Kent. I wouldn't want Mr. White to think I had deliberately disobeyed him.
Well, he won't. Now, I've got to go now.
You'll be sure to explain my position to Mr. White.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's 407, mister, over there, the house with the rooming sign.
Oh, good. What do I owe you?
65.
Okay, wait a minute. Here, you are.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, let's see what we have here. Rooms for rent, day a week. Huh. That's a strange place to uncover the story of the century. Well, let's see. No name on the bell. Probably doesn't even ring. Surprise, it does ring. And someone's coming to answer it. A woman. How do you do? I have an appointment here with Mr. White.
Oh, yes, come in, please.
Thank you.
You're Mr. Kent, aren't you?
That's right.
Won't you step into the parlor? Mr. White should be back any minute now.
Oh, you mean he isn't here?
No, but he'll be back shortly. He told me to ask you to wait.
Oh, I see. Is Miss Lane here?
Miss Lane?
Yes.
Oh, you mean the young lady from the newspaper?
That's right.
She's with Mr. White. Just have a seat and make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
You'll find some magazines on the table. If you'll excuse me, I have a pie in the oven.
Oh, that's all right. Go right ahead.
I'm sure Mr. White won't be long.
Thank you. Yeah, this is getting stranger by the moment. What sort of a place this is? Looks like a theatrical rooming house. Those signed pictures of actors and actresses on the wall. Great Scott. There's a telephone. Information told me there was no phone listed for this address. Oh, well, maybe it's disconnected. Oh, it certainly is not. Maybe I'd better answer it.
I thought I heard the telephone. Hello?
Mrs. Walsh? Is Mr. Kent there?
Just a moment. It's for you. I think it's Mr. White.
Oh, thank you. Hello?
Kent? Harry White.
Well, where are you?
I had to go out for a while. You got the money?
Why, no,
Oh, why not? Where is it?
Well, you see, Mr. White, I thought...
Now, wait a minute. Look here, Kent. When I give an order, I expect it to be carried out.
Yes, I know, but...
I called Darwin, and I told him...
I know, Mr. White. Darwin wanted to give me the money, but I thought
Now, wait a minute. I'll do all the thinking. I need that money, and I need it immediately.
Well, I just
I'll
thought
get
that...
back to the office. Tell Darwin to cash the check and send it over.
All right, I'll bring it myself.
No, you won't. You stay at the office.
But...
This is going to break soon.
Well, who'll I send it with?
Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Mr. White. I don't want Jimmy carrying $20,000 in cash.
Well, all right. Tell Darwin to bring it over. If I'm not there when he arrives, instruct him to give it to Mrs. Walsh.
Who?
Mrs. Walsh, the landlady.
Oh.
She answered the phone.
Yeah, okay.
Now, Kent, don't you waste any time.
All right, I won't. Oh, Mr. White, is Lois with you?
Yes, she is.
Oh, well, may I speak with her?
No, not now.
Yeah, but she...
She's busy. Now, get going, Kent. Get going.
All right. Oh, Mrs. Walsh,
Yes?
may I see you a moment?
Oh, are you leaving, Mr. Kent?
Yes, it won't be necessary for me to wait for Mr. White.
I see.
An elderly gentleman will be delivering a package here within the hour. If Mr. White hasn't returned, will you please accept it?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much.
I'll open the door. There.
Well, goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Kent.
Oh, good. This taxi's just what I'm looking for.
Yes, sir?
The Daily Planet building.
Right.
And, you'd better step on it. Oh, come in, Mr. Darwin.
Thank you. You wanted to see me, Mr. Kent?
Yes, I spoke to Mr. White, and you were quite correct. He wants that money, the second $20,000.
Yes, I was quite sure he did. He was very emphatic about it when he spoke to me.
Yes, well, you're to issue a check, cash it, and deliver the money to him at 407 South Street as soon as possible.
I'm to deliver it?
Yes, and in case Mr. White isn't there, leave the package with Mrs. Walsh, the landlady at that address.
Of course, Mr. Kent, I'll do anything you say, but I don't particularly like the idea of being responsible for that much currency.
Well, we're just following orders, Darwin, you and I.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Well, I'll get down to the bank immediately.
Yes, you'd better jot down the address, too. 407 South Street.
No, I'll remember it.
All right.
You don't know what Mr. White's doing with all this money, do you, Mr. Kent?
I haven't the faintest idea, Darwin. He hasn't let me in on his little secret.
Certainly seems like a secret, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Well, I'll be getting along.
All right. Oh, if you see Mr. White, tell him I'll be waiting for his call, will you?
All right, sir, I will.
Thanks. Clark Kent speaking.
Hello, Clark.
Lois.
Did that money leave yet?
Well, Darwin, the cashier, is on his way over with it. Lois, for the love of heaven, what's this all about?
I can't tell you now, Clark, but it's a terrific story. You say that Darwin left with the money.
Yes. Will you tell me why you need $40,000?
You'll find out. Incidentally, Mrs. Walsh said that you were a very handsome young man.
Yes, that's another thing. Who's Mrs. Walsh? And what are you and Mr. White doing at a rooming house?
Getting the biggest story of the century? I think you're just jealous because you're not in on it.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Lois, are you sure all this is on the level? It looks suspicious to me.
Suspicious?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. I just don't like the looks of it.
Well, you will when we're ready to phone the story in. I've got to go now. Just sit tight, Clark. So long.
Oh, Lois, wait. Oh. She hung up. Well, orders or no orders, I'm going down to 407 South Street and sit there until either Lois or White shows up. Come in.
Hello, Mr. Kent.
What? You...
I don't blame you for staring at me, but really, I'm not a ghost.
Lois.
I wanted to speak to you before seeing Mr. White.
Now, wait a minute. I just talked to you over the phone just a second ago.
You what?
I talked to you over the phone.
No, not me. I haven't been near a phone for 24 hours.
You mean to say you didn't call this morning and ask for $20,000?
Are you crazy?
Well, I'm beginning to think so.
Yeah.
Where have you been all this time?
Well, it's a long, strange story.
Well, now, wait, before you tell it to me, let's get a few things straightened out. Did you or didn't you call here last night, this morning, and less than a minute ago?
I told you, Clark. I haven't been near a phone.
Yeah, all right. Weren't you at 407 South Street?
Where?
407 South Street, a rooming house.
Never heard of the place.
Weren't you with Mr. White?
Of course not. Hey, Clark, have you lost your mind?
Lois, I think I have. I think I'm stark raving mad.
Well, we can't blame Clark Kent very much for thinking he's lost his mind. Strange things are happening in this baffling mystery. Why do Lois and Mr. White want $40,000? And what is the answer to this very strange puzzle? Don't miss the next revealing episode. Tune in and follow the baffling story with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.